people who have not done war crimes and people that have done war crimes, welcome in to there's Satan, then there's Shockwave Part 2. All right. As always, the original video will be down in the description below. Besides that part, we know this man. We done one video on him. Absolute fiend. All right. This guy is a monster. All right. By principle, by make, by design. All right. He's got no emotions. All right. He will not feel bad about anything. If anything, it's all justified in his brain. All right. There is no remorse in this man. So welcome war criminals and non-war criminals, all right? The only two genders to this man. The only two genders to Shockwave. The only ones that matter to him. And that's chat's crazy. You're either a war criminal or a victim. Yes, chat, you're absolutely right. So with that being said, let's get right into this one, yeah, shall we? I think I'm excited. I'm excited because last time it was bad, but if there's another one that's already 20 minutes long, what else did this man do is the real question. So without further ado, I think it's about time we get right into this one.
That's right, we going again, son!
We going again!
In addition to all the stuff we saw last time, he dismembered and strung up one member of his own team and tried to impale another on a spike face first. He turns legendary heroes into sniveling cowards, and he might have been responsible for 50 million human deaths.
That's just for starters.
So make sure you're liking, sharing, and subscribing. If anyone wants to support the channel further, there's a bunch of links down below. Wait, what the fuck? Because there might be a part 3 of these at some point. But for now, let's start with Cyberverse.
How many war crimes does he have?
The cortical psychic patch, which allowed bots' brains to be linked and information to be shared or extracted. He used this to hack B and Windblade's mind link to pretend to be Windblade.
Why are you talking to me like that?
Because we are friends.
And manipulated B into thinking that he had been a double agent all along.
Lord Megatron, I live to serve.
He went too far with it though, trying to persuade Bumblebee that Optimus was also a double agent, also working for the Decepticons. So he didn't buy it. And then tried to get B to tell him the location of the Earthspark, but B rumbled the ruse and disconnected from the mind link. He planned to reprogram the Earthspark to birth a new generation of cons, and that's what caused the Autobots to space bridge it the hell out of there. He would regularly subject bots to horrific experiments, notably pillaging parts from Seekers to repair Shadow Striker when she was caught in an energon explosion, even if these parts would turn out to be dysfunctional and cause more problems than they were worth.
Who's
He tried to
Shadow
attach a
Striker,
second head to
though?
this port Seeker, no idea why. I'm saying just for a laugh. Maybe it was just that was his hobby. He had a little tinker with Clobber too.
Shockwave used to experiment on me with this.
Yeah. Don't know what this thing is. Don't know what it does.
That looked
The fact that she recognizes it tells you that she was conscious. This one got a quick mention in the last video. But he tried to use these two magnetic disruptors to shut down the Earth's geomagnetic field and wipe out all organic life on Earth, just to make it easier to locate the Earthspark. He blew up that volcano to try and destroy the Ark, and it was only Teletran raising the shields in time that spared them getting lavaed. He hired Lockdown to sabotage Soundwave's ship when he was trying to wipe out the competition for Starscream's vacated number 2 spot. This is after he had been mercilessly beaten to a pulp and dumped on the moon a couple of eps prior. But the craziest one from Cyberverse,
I mean,
has to be when he used
Starscream
a
always
spark
does something to
extractor
deserve
on
those type of
himself.
stuff.
What the hell? Attempting to corrupt and therefore destroy the Earthspark itself with the energy from his own evil spark. Madness! Okay, let's talk about the...
Bro, that's crazy. I am such a hater. I'm gonna give my life force and to try to corrupt the most pure thing in the universe. Why? Because only me, only I am good enough for that.
Movieverse now, where he was active in the 1500s, according to this painting and from the last night. And this is the theory that he might have been responsible for the 50 million deaths. See, this was a painting depicting the Black Death, a pandemic that killed huge numbers of people. And yeah, potentially as many as 50 million people. Now, the history books claim that this was a disease spread by rats, but we know, right? It was obviously Shockwave. One of his biohazardous experiments must have got out of control, just really ripped through the human population.
Oh.
He was also involved in some capacity in one of the world wars because his silhouette was seen on a poster right here. And apparently, eagle-eyed viewers, not me, spotted that in that scene where Devastator is sucking everything up in Revenge of the Fallen, there's a piece of newspaper with the title Mysterious Robot Spotted and what looks to be Shockwave's silhouette. He wrecked up Chernobyl with his driller. I mean, it's such a shame because it was such a lovely place before. But he also set his driller on the city of Chicago and completely re-landscaped the place before having his eye blown.
I gotta say, design-wise, I didn't mind the Shockwave. He looked cool. But this has to be the most disappointing Shockwave we've had, you know? I was expecting this guy to put up numbers, all right? To make Optimus really have to run that once and really try his best to beat him. But he got done out mostly by military men. Like, what the? Like, come on, man. Come on. It's my favorite character. Do him justice. Do him justice. Do him justice.
Out and having his abdomen exploded with an earth-shattering punch from Opie. That didn't kill him though. Opie had to rip his eye out through his throat. Finish him! Oh, there's the video game crossover they should make. Transformers X Mortal Kombat. That'd be awesome. To finally finish him off. He featured quite heavily in the Rising Storm comics where he executed a bunch of humans. Then an Autobot called Jolt, then Elita 1, who he smashed to pieces when he landed on her, Long Arm, who got his head exploded, Salvage, who got his head exploded, Knockout, who he blasted through a wall, and Dune Runner, got his head exploded. So, you know, just a couple. Oh, just a quick, did you know?
And he died, and then him, and he died, and then also this guy, and he died, and then this guy also died. It's just, oh my god.
Did you know that he had a helicopter mode in one particular continuity, making him, yes, a triple changer? I'm going to keep that one for my vid on triple changers, which will be coming up soon, where I'm going to try and rank them in order of power. I'll try, okay, I'll try. Now let's talk about Shockwave, the Shapeshifter, and yes, I am talking about the animated incarnation. He infiltrated Autobot Armed Services. He took on a persona from historical records and enlisted into Autobot Boot Camp, where he got the nickname Long Arm because of his ability to go gadget his fucking arms. Yes, I swear at my sneezes. He tried to kill B by swapping out training rounds for live fire ammo when the yellow bot found out his secret.
You think there's a spy bot among us?
Yes, bitch.
More
I mean,
tragically than that,
he's
he set
very
up young
well
Wasp
hidden
to take the fall for being the spy, and he was dragged off to prison through no fault of his own. Took a little bit of a closer look.
Why the hell? Why the hell?
Set up young Wasp to take the fall for being the spy.
Why
and he
the
was dragged
hell?
off to prison through.
Why the hell does this guy have a bandage on his arm? Excuse me? Excuse me? I'm sorry. Last time I checked, the robots don't need to bandage their arms. Why? Ah, that does not make sense. That does not make sense. There's several things wrong with this.
No fault of his own. Took a little bit of a closer look at that situation in this video that I've got up for the members, so check out the memberships if you've got a sec. After graduating from the boot camp, he murdered the previous Intel leader Highbrow to get the position of head of Cybertronian intelligence and took on the name Long Arm Prime. Then he started constructing a space bridge to allow the cons to invade Earth when the time came. Later, when Blur was on the verge of outing him, he crushed him into a cube.
Wow. That's way more gory than I thought. My man got smushed. Wow, that's a jigsaw death if I ever saw one.
He attacked Ultra Magnus and stole his Magnus hammer. And would have later killed him altogether if it weren't for Ratchet showing up. He tortured RC, ripping a bunch of wires out of her head whilst trying to extract data codes from her mind. These were codes that would give the cons control of Omega Supreme. After this, he dumped RC on the surface of the moon as bait to trap the Autobots, and his plan looked like it was going to work until the bruiser that is Bulkhead showed up and started slapping people up. After he was defeated, he was paraded in front of a huge crowd, but even after he was imprisoned, it was detailed, I think in a novel somewhere, that he still managed to unleash a virus upon the population of Cybertron, one that infected both Autobots and Cons. Now, I spent a bit of time on the aligned version of the character in the last vid, but I did find a few more atrocities.
I love this
Detailed
version
in
the
Covenant
most.
of Primus, how after Megatron left Cybertron,
Bro,
the
I love that design the most.
Vision, he began to see Cybertron as his own personal playground to experiment on. This is where he created the Forged, his own personal army of bots who had been experimented on so much that they forgot everything about who they originally were.
Oh, bro, that looks so...
comics,
that is such odd that we went too far, but that is such a... Hold up, I could go back. That's such a cold picture. Look at that. Oh, aura, energy, absolute peak. That looks awesome. I'm not gonna lie. Look at it. Oh, that looks awesome.
Comics, Shockwave used these guys to build a colossal prison in a mountain, fuck up and capture Ultra Magnus, brainwash Swoop, gouge out his eye, and got him to attack Grimlock. He created Bruticus Maximus, who was said to be a danger to himself as well as his own allies, and he apparently tried getting the Insecticons to combine. Have we ever seen that before elsewhere? I don't think we have. Then he worked on getting Trypticon to turn to the Decepticon side. I guess he was neutral before that.
He managed. Oh my god, you monster. You got Godzilla on your side. That's crazy. I remember playing the game. Anybody play the games here? But I remember playing the game, right? And when this guy showed up, I was in love with him. I was like, peak. Oh, this guy's design is so funky, but also so awesome. And his color, bro. My favorite color is purple. So immediately, I felt the vibe. I felt the link. All right, this guy's design just spoke to me. It was amazing, and I love it to this day. To this day.
I guess he was neutral before that. Before building the massive Tower of Shockwave, which I think is that thing that we saw in Fall of Cybertron. Then he nabbed up Alpha Trion to use him to help him get access to Vector Sigma. And no, I think that was it. In the cartoon, of course, he reverse engineered the Predacons, but implanting them with control chips so that they could be controlled. Slaves, basically. Astonishingly, though, after the Predacon was lured through a ground bridge, our guy was like, "This is bullshit." Jumped out of the window and took on all of the Autobots by himself, and he beat them all too. It wasn't until Optimus put in an appearance that he got pushed back. Then he realized that the Predacons were intelligent and impossible.
Bro, it's only Prime. Prime's the only, bro, not even Bumblebee. Not even Bumblebee was an issue. He's like, only Prime. Unless it's a Prime, I ain't got no equal. I ain't got no equal in here. None of you guys are like the scientist. He's a mad scientist, an absolute warlord. But he got the hands too, all right? He's a man of science and a man of hands, all right? He's a two-man job.
To control. So followed through with Starscream's plan to get the Autobots and Predacons to kill each other.
I wanted to see him versus Megatron. I want to see that. I want to see Predkin versus Megatron. I don't think we ever got it, but I did want to see it.
When Starscream neglected to tell him that the Autobots were arriving early, he went to impale his face on a spike. What the fuck? He then set about refining and perfecting cyber matter.
See this shit mean we win.
Now, cyber matter was something that had been accidentally recreated in the fires when his lab exploded, which forced cybernucleic acid to mix with synthetic energon. They realized that with a little refinement, it had cyber-forming capabilities, so Shockwave immediately saw in it another way of conquering Earth. All of these actions would return to haunt him, though, when he was swarmed by the army of undead Predacons. He was seen torturing Grimlock in the Fall of Cybertron video game before getting his arm bitten off.
Damn, that's rough.
With Rise of the Darkspark, Shockwave designed an experiment to use the Darkspark to remove the Autobots' will to fight. He turned the Dinobots into slaves again in G1 when he rewired their brains and set them to work mining Cybertonium. He put Spike and Carly to work too, but that backfired because they fixed the Dinobots and they all escaped. Oh look, he's wielding a little version of himself. I guess
he's like, you know what? You guys go to the mining camps as well. You guys go there too.
Maybe it's like, was it Cyberverse? Where he had these little tiny versions of himself, these little drones. He tried to kill the female Autobots right after discovering they weren't extinct. and helped kidnap Elita 1. When the girl bots helped in the rescue attempt, he blasted them. And then when they were hanging on for dear life, he would have pushed them over had OP not turned up to chase him away. Elita 1 did the revenging here and shot him down his barrel hole. His background lurking and all-round sneakiness allowed him to find out that the key to Vector Sigma, whilst on Cybertron could bring Transformers to life, on Earth, it could be used to turn any living being into metal. For some reason, Megatron just turned a bunch of trees into... just used it on a bunch of trees.
Yeah, don't trust it.
Yeah, but Silverbolt managed to destroy that before Megatron was able to deforest the entire Amazon. Seriously though, this would have enabled the Cons to cyberform the whole of planet Earth. Then there was the whole chronosphere thing, but I spoke about that in the last vid, so check that out if you want. But in short, it was a time machine platform thing that the Cons used to pillage Energon from the past, but decided to use it to get rid of the aerial bots to send them somewhere the fuck else in time. Everybody ended up back in Cybertron's golden age. Wow, everything was literally golden. Where Shockwave reprogrammed a Guardian robot to kill everybody. He killed Prowl in the Binaltech universe and created evil clones of various Autobots in the hope that they would destroy their originals in Rodimus Wars. In the Wings universe, G-Axis wanted to reunify the Cybertronian colonies, so Shockwave wiped out anyone who followed him in what was described as a cull. He tried to kill G-Axis too, but narrowly missed. Then he wiped all the details of the events from the Cybertronian history books to stop anyone finding out. Probably also to explain why no one ever mentioned this before. In his short appearance in Transformers 1, you could definitely tell this was a more light-hearted take on the character. He gagged B-127 to stop his jibber-jabber, then didn't want to take orders from Orion. So
Man, they doing my boy dirty. They put my boy dirty. I haven't watched the movie, but I have seen this clip, and I'm like, bro, why is he like this? Why is he like this? Where is my boy? What have they done to my boy? Not my boy. He's been turned into a joke, a gag.
The eye before later being forced to shoot Starscream and then kicked by Optimus so hard he shot himself in the face. In Earthspark, his master plan was to use the Allspark to bring to life an army of protoforms, in a bid to make the Autobots kneel before them. Before Megatron had his crisis of conscience and threw him into a stasis pod. When he finally awoke from stasis, he instantly hated the fact that Megatron had allied himself with the Autobots. He found the Earthborn Terrans to be abominations and wanted them wiped out. He talked about being rejected by Megatron and feeling discarded so that Megs could start anew with what he referred to as accidents of the Emberstone, before he trapped them all in a force field and attempted to detonate a series of power cores that I think used to power the space bridge. I really like his robot mode in this one. It's one of the more slimline versions of Shockwave that we've had, and his arm cannon is more of a harpoon now, like Impact has got, but that can also blast out a huge dose of
don't
death.
tell me they took away
also
his
scan
cannon.
bots' faces and give you their entire backstory, which is handy. His Earthspark alt mode, I'm not so mad about, and I'm not entirely sure why. There's been other occasions where he's been a walking tank, and I've been okay with that, but I think it's the thin tank tracks, but they're more like rollerblades than actual tank tracks. Anyway, he suddenly brought out the immobilizer from nowhere. I'm not sure where he got that from, but he ended up having that used against him and then vanned and taken away. Like many of the other bots, he got controlled by Mandroid and tried to kill the Malto kids. Then in season 2, he helped Starscream reform the Emberstone. Before Starscream did his supervillain thing that he so often does, you know what, check out my Starscream vid if you want more details on that. Before he would vocate trying to refocus their efforts on Cybertron, and Starscream nearly killed him and the other Cons with a big Titan slap. Before, as he put it, going his own way and leading the Cons with him. I covered the War for Cybertron trilogy pretty good in the other vid, but there were a few things that I left out from the Marvel comics. Obviously, I talked about hacking Optimus's head off and draining his brain for intel. Oh my god, this panel reminds me of, you know those suction things they put on cows' udders and they go like...
Okay.
Only on his brain, as well as freeing up these Autobots to use their corpses as spare parts. Sure, I mentioned all those things, but did I mention crippling Josie Bella? Yeah, he attacked this oil rig she was working on, killing all of its defense forces, and this left her in a hospital bed undergoing extensive rebuilding and rehab, and eventually becoming a scantily clad
Okay.
superhero circuit breaker. It's comic book logic, don't think about it too much. After this, he cemented his rule of the Cons by giving a weakened Megatron an utter beating, smacking him with a water tower, electrocuting him, blasting him into a crater, then tossing him aside like he was nothing, then humiliating him in front of the troops by forcing him to pledge his allegiance too. At one point, Megatron and Galvatron joined forces, so he completely lost his mind and sat there babbling a bunch of random mumbo-jumbo bullshit until he was questioned by Scourge, who noticed that he'd strung up the dismembered remains of Cyclonus in this kind of horrific web of horror and body parts.
Wow.
Doesn't look too happy about it. And when Scourge tried to get him down, Shockwave blasted him and threw him on the scrap heap. He squashed this guy. This guy was just in the wrong place at the wrong time and saw him coming out of the ocean. He was just walking his dog down the beach. Then there was this whole thing with a mobile power station called Power Station Alpha, where he set it to run amok. Yeah, the government thought it would be a great idea to build a flying, tunneling, nuclear reactor, which would collect energy while creating absolute chaos, basically. And Shockwave spoke about how he could set this thing to somehow destroy the whole of Earth. Planet Earth will die! But when Cobra found out about this little detail of the plan, they flipped on him and helped G.I. Joe destroy the power station. He tried to overthrow
the
Megs
G.I.
a bunch
Joe
of times
series. I
until
forgot that
finally
existed.
ending up getting pummeled to pieces when Megs joined forces with Galvatron again. Did you see that cover? There's like blood and guts flying everywhere. People will say, oh, it's just cables and that, but well, then why is it red? Look, there's red mist. He'd try and kill Megatron again by jumping him with a bunch of triple changes and throwing him over a cliff. He got drawn with 2 blaster arms and no head in this German comic. And perhaps because of all of the betrayals, Megs decided to separate our boy from his body, keeping only his head to prevent further coups.
Damn. That's crazy. You're such a threat that you have to just keep your head. You have to just keep your life to your head. You can't risk giving you a torso or anything. You're too dangerous. You're too much of a threat. It's crazy.
What is it with Megatron and talking to severed heads? But you know what? I'm going to go into this more when I do my worst deeds of Megatron, which hopefully I'll have ready for around Christmas time. It's going to be huge, that one. So make sure you're subscribed for that. I feel like I covered Dreamwave pretty good in the last vid, although I didn't mention him ordering the eradication of the Autobots right here, or ordering the stripping down and junking of their city of Iacon. I did mention that he shot through one of the Guardian robots and killed another. These guys were the Autobots' last line of defense, and Mr. Big Balls just shows up. He's like, just thought that was worth repeating. And he also gunned down Prowl. Don't worry, not like this. Prowl was back in the next issue. In Secrets and Lies, he spearheaded Project Dreadnought, a scheme to turn Cybertron itself into the ultimate weapon, a planet-sized supercarrier that could travel around the galaxy, brutally policing its colony planets and expanding the Empire.
Right.
And if you're wondering what this thing is, no, he's not about to give an enema or make sausage. Oh, I'm getting confused. Fuck it. It's an attachment for his gun arm that contains a derivative of the Scraplet virus, although it was designed to be non-fatal. So Dirge and these other coneheads got away with it this time. All this was before he realized that Earth was a primordial engine, a whole ecosystem that could fuel Cybertron, but before he set about harvesting, he got attacked by the Dinobots. He did a little beam clashing, and then took a supercharged punch from Grimlock. Again, I spent quite a lot of time on IDW Shockwave last time, but there are a few things that I'd like to add. For example, his experiments to refine synthetic energon, which often involved live patients, creating the Nightmare transmitter to manipulate bots' minds through their unconscious fucking dreams.
Oh god,
and again,
the
killed
Hux is
the
crazy.
last Omega Destructor. Not sure if I mentioned this one last time, but he implanted the Maximals with fake memories and then forced them to fight each other over and over and over again, allowing him to test various battle strategies before he was like, that was fun, and abandoned them. In the Shockwave spotlight, the Dinobots set him ablaze in an inferno. And right then he spoke about his systems being able to synthesize rage and sent him full Doomslayer. And he burst.
My system can synthesize rage is crazy. Evolve is this goes hard. Look at this.
Flame.
Look at this. My man is a threat. He is the threat. He's red eye and everything. Oh my god. What can I say? I love Shockwave. Love the man.
And grabbed Sludge
He's
by the
horrible.
neck and swung him around to take out the other Dinobots, apart from Swoop, who got blasted in the back while trying to fly away. Then he punched Grimlock to absolute before transforming into gun mode and hitting him with a Death Star-sized blast. We can't forget that he ruined Pinkie Pie's Happy Horsey cooking show before attacking with a...
I completely forgot about Okay, we're just gonna get through this. I know nothing about this besides that it happened.
cheese grater attachment on one arm and a whisk/spatula on the other, before Gage ripped them out and then smacked him in the face with a couple frying pans, which turned his head circular. Interesting. It was said that he helped body-hopping supervillain Exarchon unleash a brutal war against Cybertron in IDW's 2019 continuity. All because Exarchon promised him unlimited resources to do whatever weird experiments he wanted. He tried to clone Skywarp, but wasn't able to recreate his teleportation ability. The drone army he was able to create, though, was pretty effective and nearly won them the war, but apparently Nominus Prime created the Seekers to counter them. After Exarchon mysteriously disappeared, Megatron took Shockwave and put him at the head of terrorist organization The Rise to spread dissent and eventually radicalize bots to the cause that would eventually become the Decepticons. Then he cloned himself an Insecticon army, taking advantage of the fact that they were starving to coerce them into it. But for the cloning process, he needed parts, so he, Spinister, and Sound Blaster started harvesting them from unwilling bots across the galaxy. His reputation definitely preceded him in the Skybound comics, where he was a bot known for taking his time when pulling Autobots apart. He was called in by Soundwave after the cons were awoken on the Ark and found themselves needing reinforcing. There seemed to be a real mutual respect between these two, with Shockwave genuinely glad that his fallen brothers had been found, and Soundwave glad to have the backup. After space bridging into the middle of a battle, and Optimus's face tells you everything right here. He went to kill Cliffjumper, but Ratchet jumped into the way, and oh my god, look at that damage. It's more whole than torso at this point. And then he just laughed about it. Rare bit of emotion from Shockers there. We saw how respected he was again when Scrapper had his back in this battle here, where the Constructicon says, "For the cause, my general." Now, the reason I keep on about this respect thing is that so many times over the years, the downfall of the con has been their squabbling and infighting, and I've always thought that if these guys just instilled a little discipline and all pulled in the same direction, the Autobots would not have a chance. And Skybound Shockwave seems to be a leader that brings that. He picked up Prime and pile-drived his head into the ground. There's only a Liter and Ultra Magnus randomly materializing through the space bridge that diverted what would have been the killing shot from his arm cannon. He went to recycle Ravage here after he got damaged, picking him up by the hind leg, and he was about to feed him into a
Oh my god, that... Not Bido. He's gonna put Bido in the furnace. Chat, what do you guys want? All right, whenever they want attention, they just start throwing stuff at me. What do you guys want, chat? Huh? What do you want? What do you want? What do you want? You want me a piss? What do you want? Anyways, let us recycle the old thing. You will be better. You will be able to build a stronger version of your record. Just suffer? Okay, chat. Screw off. Bug off. Stronger recordicons when you take the bronze throne on our home planet.
grinder right in front of Soundwave. Why? Why would you do that? But he got distracted as he marveled in awe at these whales and manta rays and stuff before telling Soundwave, yep, I've got an even bigger grinder for them. Of course, this was the energy feeder, something that could extract the energy from organic matter. After the Autobots retreated, he ordered that Jazz and Cliff be hauled off as he had many painful experiments to subject them to. And after that, he had the Constructicons switch on the energy feeder that started sucking all organic life out of the ocean. I did put a grinder sound effect over this panel and the sound of some liquid sploshing and stuff, but I think I'm going to spare you guys that because
thank you.
It's just too much.
Thank you.
Look at his face here. Before slapping Jazz around something awful and then using Cliff as a human shield to escape from the attacking Autobots. Then Ultra Magnus appeared as backup, and just as you're thinking, fuck, yes! Like there's this whole little build-up. Optimus is like, we brought backup. And then the fucking space bridge opens up and there's a silhouette in there and he comes out and Wheeljack is like, you go get it now! And then he takes one look and then all the PTSDs come flooding back, so he evacuates his bowels and runs away. Probably remembering how Shocky Baby tortured him until he looked like this.
Damn! My boy had PTSD. He came in charging. I'm ready for the... Oh no. Hell no. I ain't fighting him. No, after what he did to me. I ain't fighting this guy. He's too crazy.
And there was kind of a lead up to this as well, like Ultra Magnus was rescued and then he was slowly rebuilt and slowly refound his courage and his will to fight. So this moment is like a house of cards collapsing. And again, Shockwave laughed. And you know when this guy laughs, something bad.
Broke his mind. It's so funny. I broke his mind, and now I shall break your bodies.
That just went down. When Devastator fell into the energy feeder and destroyed it, Shockwave made a swift retreat and quickly ordered the Combaticons to execute Cliffjumper. Cliff is the proper whipping boy here. But the red mist started to descend on Opie, so he followed him through, obliterated the Combaticons, beat Shockwave mercilessly, and proceeded to pop his head like a melon with his bare hands. It's super unusual to see Optimus like this. Obviously, there were moments in the Bayverse, but that felt different. Here, you see him visualizing this baby as he's doing the beating and thinking about the effects that Cybertronians will ultimately have on organic populations. I find this image a harrowing one, with the tendrils snaking into the kid's crying eyes and open crying mouth, and I really felt how Opie's mind just went. The issue ends with Opie choosing to go back to Earth rather than stay on Cybertron with Alita, in a fucking amazing ending that I'll let you sample for yourself.
Like, there's more to it than what I'm saying here, but you guys really need to go on that journey yourselves.
But going back to Shockwave, Opie says something at one point that sums him up completely. That he's not just the enemy of the Autobots. Often his dedication to cold, hard logic makes him the enemy of life itself.
Guys, make sure you're subscribed, because I'm very likely to make another one of these videos in like a year's time or something.
What
Because as I'm making my own videos,
there?
I keep finding more examples. Like, okay, oh, genocide here, atrocity there. Wow, that was horrific. You know, and I jot them all down. So as soon as I've got enough, I'll do a part 3. Next up, I'm working on my huge Megatron video. As I said a couple of times already, it's going to be so big that it's going to take me weeks. So I'm hoping to release it in the run-up to Christmas somewhere. And whilst I'm working on that, I might put out a couple of videos on Pacific Rim, because there's a new comic coming out, a new prequel series has been announced, so it looks like there's some movement there, finally. All right, once again, thank you so much for all the support that you give my channel. I'm not normally a gushy guy,
yes, this song.
but it does mean a fuck of a lot to this weirdo right here. All right, I'm out.
All right. That was fun. That was enjoyable. I very much love that one. Ow! You must y'all throw stuff at me. All right, we do what we want. Okay. Okay, all right, chat. All right, my chat just wants me to suffer. Anyways, that was enjoyable. I very much I love Shockwave. I love Shockwave. I love him. I love him. He's my favorite. He's my favorite for many reasons. But as always, oh, thank you, chat. Thank you. Appreciate it. But as always, the original video will be down in the description down below. And you know, I do record these all live on Twitch, so if you want to hear part of the madness, follow me there. Besides that, though, don't forget to like and subscribe. It means a lot. It helps a lot. It does help. So, you know, I appreciate any and all of that. And I do post twice daily. So if you want to get notified of those, hit the notification bell. Besides that, though, that's all gonna be all for me. Hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye, my lost souls.